wiped the sweat from his forehead, and stared at the tangle of wires in front of him. The environmental control system in the VIP quarters was acting up again, and of course, it had to happen now, right when the most important alien visitor in human history was sleeping just a few rooms away. The ship Harmony Dawn was not built for this kind of pressure. It was a decent diplomatic vessel, sure, but hosting Princess Lyra of the Empire, that was something else entirely. They were old, powerful, and terrifyingly advanced. Their ships could cross the galaxy in weeks. Their weapons could crack planets. And their princess was currently on board, trying to decide if humanity was worth talking to. No pressure at all. Twisted another wire into place and sighed. He was just a mechanic. He fixed things. He was not supposed to be anywhere near the diplomatic mission. But the regular maintenance crew was too scared to work near the alien VIP section, so here he was, alone at 2 in the morning, trying to fix an air recycler while an alien princess slept nearby. At least he thought she was sleeping. Through the half-open door to the meditation chamber, could see Princess Lyra lying on a raised platform. Her eyes were closed. Her breathing was slow and steady. She looked peaceful, almost human, except for the faint silver glow of her skin and the delicate patterns that moved across her face like living tattoos. Had seen her earlier during the formal welcome ceremony. She had walked onto the bridge with perfect posture, wearing flowing robes that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. Her face had been calm and unreadable. When Captain had stumbled over his welcome speech, she had simply nodded, showing no emotion at all. Everyone said they were like that, cold, perfect, impossible to read. Pulled another panel off the wall and muttered to himself. He always talked to himself when he worked late. It helped him think. "This is ridiculous," he said quietly, sorting through the colored wires. "All this stress just to impress some alien princess who probably thinks we're all primitive anyway." He connected 2 wires and checked his scanner, still not working. "And the protocols," he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "Don't make eye contact, don't speak unless spoken to, don't breathe too loud, it's exhausting. We're acting like scared children instead of just being ourselves." He glanced toward the meditation chamber. The princess hadn't moved. Good. The last thing he needed was to wake her up with his rambling. "And that translator thing she wears," said, warming to his topic. "It makes her sound like a disappointed history teacher. Humanity's achievements are adequate. Your vessel is functional. Everything sounds like we barely passed a test." He snorted softly. "Maybe we should just be honest. Hey, princess, we're kind of a mess, but we're trying our best. Also, your technology is amazing and we're super jealous." That would go over well. The scanner finally beeped. The system was working again. Started packing up his tools, still muttering. Everyone's walking on eggshells around her. Even Captain looks like he's going to have a heart attack every time she looks at him. And the princess herself. She seems way too uptight for someone whose species can literally glow when they're happy. Does she ever actually feel happy? Does she ever just laugh? Closed his toolbox and stood up. Probably not. Probably against protocol or something. Princesses do not laugh. Princesses remain perfect and boring at all times. He did a mock-serious impression, standing up straight with his hands clasped. "I am Princess Lyra. I am very important and very serious. I do not enjoy anything because enjoyment is beneath me." Chuckled at his own joke, then felt immediately guilty. That was mean. The princess was probably a nice person. She was just formal, very, very formal. He picked up his toolbox and turned toward the door. Time to get out of here before he said something even to himself. "Humans should just be themselves," he said as he walked. "That's what makes us interesting, right? We're messy and emotional and we laugh at inappropriate times. We're not perfect, but at least we're real. Maybe that's what the galaxy needs. Less perfection, more honesty." His blood turned to ice. The voice came from the meditation chamber. It was smooth and clear, without the translator's usual stiffness, and it was amused. Turned slowly, his heart hammering in his chest. Princess Lyra was sitting up on the meditation platform. Her eyes were open, and they were glowing with a soft, warm light. The patterns on her face were swirling faster than before, in shades of gold and pink. She was smiling. I thought you were asleep," managed to say. His voice came out as a squeak. "Do not sleep as humans do," Lyra said. Her voice was different now, more natural. "We meditate. We remain aware of our surroundings. It helps us process the day." "Oh," said then, "oh no." "Oh yes," Lyra replied. There was a long, terrible silence. Wanted to run. He wanted to disappear. He wanted to travel back in time and choose a different career. Anything but this. "I'm so sorry," he finally said. I did mean, I did mean it, but I didn't think you could hear me, and I was just tired and stressed, and sometimes I talk to myself when I work and—" Lyra held up one hand. The gesture was surprisingly gentle. "Please," she said, "stop apologizing." Closed his mouth. He waited for the anger, the outrage, the diplomatic incident that would get him fired or worse. Instead, something completely unexpected happened. Princess Lyra started to laugh. It was not a polite laugh. It was not a diplomatic laugh. It was a real, genuine laugh that bubbled up from deep inside her. It started as a chuckle, then grew into something bigger. Her shoulders shook. Her eyes glowed brighter. The patterns on her face swirled in brilliant, happy colors. She laughed so hard she had to hold her sides. "A disappointed history teacher," she gasped between laughs. That is exactly what the translator makes me sound like." Stared at her. This was not how he thought this moment would go. "I have been using that translator for 200 years, Lyra continued, wiping at her eyes. "And no one has ever told me the truth. Everyone just nods politely while I sound like I am grading their homework." 200 years, repeated. "You're 200 years old." 237, Lyra corrected. She was still smiling. "Live much longer than humans." "Oh," said. Then, because his brain was not working properly, he added, "You look good for 200. Lyra laughed again. This time heard the sound echo into the corridor. He heard running footsteps, shouts, someone yelling about security protocols. This was going to be a very long night. But as watched the alien princess laugh with genuine joy for the first time in possibly centuries, he thought maybe, just maybe, his big mouth had accidentally done something right. The door to the VIP section burst open. Captain ran in first, still pulling on his uniform jacket. His hair was sticking up in 3 different directions. Behind him came the head of security, carrying a weapon that really hoped was set to stun. "What's happening?" demanded, looking around wildly. "We heard sounds, loud sounds from the princess's quarters." The communications officer pushed past both of them. She was best friend and the only person on the ship who thought his tendency to talk too much was funny instead of annoying. She took one look at the scene, her eyes widening. Princess Lyra was still sitting on the meditation platform, her face bright with amusement. Stood frozen in the middle of the room, holding his toolbox like a shield. The princess's patterns were glowing in warm, happy colors. She was wiping tears from her eyes. "Princess Lyra," said carefully, like he was talking to a dangerous animal. Are you all right? Did something happen? Did someone hurt you?" "Hurt me?" Lyra looked genuinely confused for a moment. Then she understood. "Oh, no, Captain, I am perfectly fine. Better than fine, actually. I was just laughing." "Laughing?" repeated slowly. He looked at, "Why were you laughing?" "Because your mechanic is hilarious," Lyra said simply. Grip tightened on his weapon. "The mechanic made you laugh. What did he do? What did he say?" "He told the truth," Lyra said. "Something I have not heard in a very, very long time." His face went through several different expressions. Confusion, concern, more confusion. I don't understand." Lyra stood up, her robes flowing around her. Even in the middle of the night, she moved with perfect grace, but now there was something different about her, something lighter. "Captain," she said, "do you know what your mechanic said about me while he thought I was asleep?" Went pale. "Princess, I assure you, whatever he said, it does not represent the views of." "He said my translator makes me sound like a disappointed history teacher," Lyra interrupted. She smiled again. "He said everyone on this ship is walking on eggshells around me. He said humans should just be themselves instead of trying to be perfect. And he is absolutely right." The room was silent, wished he could sink into the floor. 200 years, Lyra continued, her voice softer now. "I have been a princess for 200 years. Do you know how many people have spoken honestly to me in that time? How many people have treated me like a person instead of a title?" No one answered. "Zero," Lyra said. "Not one, not ever. Everyone is always so careful, so polite, so afraid. I understand why. I am a representative of my people. I carry the weight of the empire. But do you know what it feels like to go centuries without a single genuine conversation?" She looked at, and then this human, this tired mechanic who was just trying to fix my air recycler, talks to himself about how ridiculous all the formality is. He makes jokes about my translator. He does an impression of me being boring and serious. And for the first time in longer than I can remember, I heard something real. Was grinning now. She elbowed. "Dude," she whispered, "you accidentally made friends with an alien princess." "That is not how I would describe it," whispered back. Lyra laughed again, a short, bright sound. "But that is exactly what happened, and I have a request, Captain." Straightened up. "Of course, Princess, whatever you need." "I want to be my cultural liaison," Lyra said. The silence was even deeper this time. "You're what?" said. "My cultural liaison," Lyra repeated. "Someone to help me understand human culture. The real human culture, not the formal diplomatic version. I want to know how humans actually live, what they find funny, what they care about, and I believe is the perfect person to show me." "Absolutely not," said immediately. "Princess, with all respect, this is highly irregular. We have trained diplomats, cultural experts." "Who will tell me what they think I want to hear," Lyra finished. "I do not want that anymore. I want honesty. I want reality. And your mechanic is the first human who has given me that." She turned to, "If you are willing, of course. I understand if you would prefer not to. I am told I can be intimidating." Looked at. The captain's face was doing complex mathematics. On one hand, this was completely insane. On the other hand, the princess of the most powerful empire in the galaxy was asking for something, and saying no might ruin the entire diplomatic mission. Said carefully, "Would you be willing to assist Princess Lyra with cultural matters?" Was making encouraging gestures behind the captain's back. She was mouthing the words, "Say yes," over and over. "I sure," said. "I mean yes, I would be honored, I think. I don't really know what a cultural liaison does, but I can try." Lyra's patterns brightened. "Excellent, we can start tomorrow, or later today technically. I believe it is past midnight." "It is 3 in the morning," supplied helpfully. "Then we all need rest," Lyra said. She looked at. "Thank you for being honest and for making me laugh. It has been far too long." Ushered everyone out of the VIP section. In the corridor, he grabbed S's arm. "Do you understand what just happened?" he hissed. "Not really," admitted. "The princess likes you. She actually likes you. Do you know how rare that is? Do you know what this could mean for the mission?" "That I'm going to accidentally ruin everything," suggested. Stared at him. Then surprisingly he laughed. It was a tired, slightly hysterical laugh. "Maybe, but maybe not. Just be yourself. Apparently that's what she wants. Just try not to start a war, okay?" "I'll do my best," said. After and left, grabbed shoulders. "This is amazing. Do you know what you've done? You've made the alien ice princess laugh. People are going to write about this." People are going to write about how I almost caused an interstellar incident, corrected. Same thing, said cheerfully. So what are you going to show her first? Human movies, Earth food. Oh, you should teach her about coffee. Humans love coffee. I have no idea what I'm doing, said. He felt exhausted and overwhelmed and strangely excited all at once. Good, said. That means you'll be honest about it. That's what she wants, remember. Just be the same disaster of a human you always are. It's working so far. Went back to his quarters but could not sleep. He kept thinking about Princess Lyra's laugh, about how surprised and happy she had looked, about how strange it was that someone so powerful and important had never had a real friend. Maybe was right. Maybe being a disaster was exactly what the princess needed. Tomorrow was going to be very interesting. His first day as a cultural liaison started with a disaster. He had spent all morning trying to figure out what to show Princess Lyra first. Museums, historical records, important human achievements. But then he remembered her laugh and he thought about what she had said. She did not want the formal stuff. She wanted real human life. So he decided to take her to the crew mess hall for lunch. This turned out to be a terrible idea, or a brilliant one, was still not sure. Princess Lyra arrived at noon, wearing simpler robes than usual. She still looked impossibly elegant, but at least she was not glowing as brightly. Her advisor followed 2 steps behind, looking like someone had forced him to eat something sour. "This is the dining facility?" Lyra asked, looking around the mess hall with genuine curiosity. "Yep," said. "This is where the crew eats when we're not on duty. It's nothing fancy, but the food is decent." "Decent," repeated, his voice cold. "The princess is accustomed to cuisine prepared by master chefs, food designed for biology and refined over centuries." "Advisor," Lyra said gently, "I asked to experience normal human life. This is normal human life." The mess hall had gone quiet when they entered. About 50 crew members were staring at them. Could feel everyone's eyes on his back. He led Lyra to the food line, trying to ignore the whispers. "So you just pick what you want?" Lyra asked, examining the various dishes. "Yeah, there's usually 3 or 4 options. Today we have," squinted at the labels. "Synthesized chicken, vegetable stir-fry, pasta with red sauce and soup." "What do you recommend?" "Honestly, the soup is always safe. The pasta can be hit or miss. Our cook makes really good stir-fry though." Lyra chose the stir-fry, got the same, and they found a table in the corner. Stood nearby, radiating disapproval. "You may sit, advisor," Lyra said. "I prefer to stand, princess." "I prefer that you sit. You are making everyone nervous." Sat, but he looked like he was sitting on broken glass. Lyra picked up a fork and examined it. Interesting design, simple but functional. "It's just a fork," said. Then he remembered who he was talking to. "Sorry, I mean." "No," Lyra interrupted. "Do not apologize for being casual. That is why I am here." She took a bite of the stir-fry. Her patterns flickered through several colors. Surprise, curiosity, pleasure. "This is good," she said. "Very different from food, but good. What are these flavors?" Soy sauce, garlic, I think uses ginger too." They ate in silence for a moment, then appeared at their table carrying her own tray. She grinned at. "Mind if I join you?" she asked. "Please do," Lyra said immediately. Sat down and started eating like nothing unusual was happening, like she ate lunch with alien princesses every day. "So," she said between bites, "it's probably being super awkward about this whole cultural liaison thing, right?" "I am not being awkward," protested. "You're definitely being awkward," said. She looked at Lyra. "He's terrified he's going to accidentally offend you and cause a war." "I do not offend easily," Lyra said, "and I find his awkwardness charming." "See," said Tu, "you're charming, stop worrying so much." More crew members started coming over. Myra asked Lyra about evolution, A young engineer named Wu asked about ship engines. The cook came out from the kitchen to ask if she had enjoyed the food. Lyra answered every question with genuine interest. She asked questions back. She wanted to know about Earth, about human families, about what people did for fun. She was fascinated by everything. Looked like he was dying inside. After lunch, took Lyra on a tour of the ship. Not the official tour that Captain had given her. The real tour. He showed her the maintenance tunnels where the crew wrote jokes on the walls, the observation deck where people went to think, the small gym where taught self-defense classes. Everyone is so relaxed here, Lyra observed. In the formal areas of the ship, humans seem tense, but here they laugh, they joke, they are themselves. Yeah, said, that's kind of my point. This is who we really are, not the formal diplomatic stuff, just people trying to get by. That evening made another decision. If Lyra wanted to understand humans, she needed to understand human entertainment. So he invited her to movie night. Movie night was a crew tradition. Every week, someone picked an old film from Earth's archives, and anyone who was off duty could come watch. This week, the movie was a comedy from the early 21st century, something about a group of friends trying to plan a wedding while everything went wrong. Lyra sat in the back of the recreation room within, had finally given up and returned to the VIP quarters, muttering about proper behavior. Other crew members kept glancing back at them, but everyone was trying to act normal. The movie started. At first, Lyra watched with polite interest. Then one of the characters did something ridiculous and the whole room laughed. Lyra looked confused. Why is that funny? She whispered too. Because he's trying so hard to be perfect and he keeps messing up, explained. It's funny because it's relatable. Everyone makes mistakes. Do not have comedy? Asked. We have humor, Lyra said slowly, but it is different, more subtle, more intellectual. This is. She watched as the character on screen tripped and fell into a cake. This is silly. Yeah, agreed. That's kind of the point. Lyra watched more carefully. When the next joke happened, she smiled. Then she chuckled. By the middle of the movie, she was laughing along with everyone else. Not politely, really laughing. The kind of laugh that made her patterns glow bright gold. The crew started to relax. Someone passed popcorn to Lyra. She tried it and declared it unnecessarily salty but addictive. When the movie ended with a happy scene, she applauded with everyone else. That was wonderful, she said as people filed out. I have never experienced anything like that, just sitting with people sharing laughter. No agenda, no protocol, just enjoyment. That's what humans do, said. We find ways to be happy even when things are hard. We tell stories. We make each other laugh. It's how we survive. Lyra was quiet for a moment. You know, she said softly, I have served my people for over 2 centuries. I have negotiated treaties. I have represented the Empire across the galaxy. But I have never had friends. Not real ones. Everyone treats me like a princess first and a person second, if they see me as a person at all. That sounds lonely, said. It is, Lyra admitted. But today, for the first time in my very long life, I felt like just another person watching a movie with friends. It was, she paused, searching for the word. It was perfect. And the beautiful thing is, it was perfect because it was not perfect at all. Does that make sense? Yeah, said, it really does. As they walked back toward the VIP section, Lyra stopped. Thank you, she said. Both of you. You have given me something I did not know I was missing. Popcorn, suggested with a grin. Lyra laughed. That too, but mostly you have shown me that being flawed is not a weakness, that laughter is not beneath anyone, that friendship is more valuable than protocol. She looked at. Your species may not have the most advanced technology, you may not have the longest history, but you have something my people have forgotten. You know how to live. After she left, Punch's arm gently. See, I told you you're doing great. I'm just being myself, said. Exactly, replied. And apparently that's exactly what the galaxy needs. Everything changed on the seventh day. Was showing Lyra how to play cards in the rec room when Captain came in. His face was gray. Behind him was Wu, one of the junior diplomats, looking equally worried. Princess Lyra said quietly, "We need to speak with you privately." Lyra set down her cards. The patterns on her face shifted from warm golds to cooler blues. "Is something wrong, Captain?" "There has been communication from the Elder Council has requested an emergency meeting with you, immediately." Lyra stood up slowly, felt something cold settle in his stomach. This was bad. He could tell from the way everyone was moving, the way they were not looking at each other. "I see," Lyra said. Her voice was calm, but noticed her hands had curled into fists. "I will take the call in my quarters." "Princess," Wu said nervously. "The council seemed displeased. They mentioned concerns about your recent behavior." "My behavior," Lyra repeated. Something flickered across her face. Anger, fear. "Thank you for the warning, Wu." She left the rec room with her head high, started to follow but stopped him. "Let her handle this alone," the captain said. "Council business is not our concern." But could not stop thinking about it. He waited outside the VIP section, packing, found him an hour later. "You're going to wear a hole in the floor," she said. "Something's wrong," said. "Did you see her face? She was scared." "She's a princess dealing with her government. Of course it's serious." "But what if—" The door to the VIP section opened. Lyra stepped out. Her face was expressionless, but her patterns were dim, barely glowing at all, followed behind her looking grim. Lyra said, her voice was flat, "May I speak with you?" They walked to the observation deck in silence. Through the large windows, could see stars stretching in every direction. Lyra stood looking out at them for a long time. "The Elder Council has ordered me to return home," she finally said. Why?" "Because of my behavior. They have heard about my time with the human crew, about the laughter, the casual dining, the movie watching." She laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "Someone on my staff reported back to them. They said I was acting beneath my station, that I was being corrupted by human influence." "That's ridiculous," said. "Is it?" Lyra turned to face him. "In culture, royalty must maintain absolute dignity at all times. We represent order, perfection, strength. What I have been doing here, eating in your mess hall, laughing at your comedies, making friends like a common citizen, it goes against everything I was raised to be." "But you were happy," protested. "For the first time in 200 years, you said you felt like a real person." "Happiness is not relevant," Lyra said, and she sounded tired, so very tired. "I have duties, responsibilities. The alliance between my people and yours is important, too important to risk because I wanted to eat popcorn and watch movies." She walked to the window and pressed her hand against it. "Do you know what the council said? They said humans are dangerous, not because of your weapons or your ambitions, but because you make us want to be like you. You make us want to laugh, to be imperfect, to choose happiness over duty, and that terrifies them." "Because it would mean changing," said quietly. "Yes," Lyra's patterns flickered sadly. "Society has been the same for thousands of years. We have achieved so much through discipline and perfection, but we have also lost something. We forgot how to simply live. And the council knows that if I go back and tell our people what I have learned here, some of them might want what I have found." "Would that be so bad?" Lyra smiled sadly. "To the council, yes, change is dangerous, it is messy, it is unpredictable, all the things that humans embrace and fear." Felt helpless. He wanted to tell her not to go, to stay here where she could be herself, but he knew it was not that simple. "What will you do?" he asked. Lyra was quiet for a long time. "I do not know," she finally admitted. "If I refuse to return, I dishonor my family. I break my oath to my people. The alliance could collapse, but if I go back—" She closed her eyes. If I go back, I return to a life where I cannot laugh, cannot have friends, cannot be anything except a symbol. There has to be another way, said. Does there? Lyra opened her eyes and looked at him. Tell me, what would a human do in my situation? Thought about it. He thought about all the stories he had heard growing up. Stories about people who stood up for what they believed in, even when it was hard, even when it was terrifying. Humans mess up a lot, he said slowly. We make mistakes constantly. We're scared of things all the time, but you know what? When it really matters, we choose to be brave. We decide that being true to ourselves is worth the risk. He moved to stand next to her at the window. You asked me once if ever feel happy, but here's a better question. Should anyone have to choose between duty and happiness? Should you have to lock away part of yourself just to maintain an image? The council would say yes, Lyra said. And what do you say? Lyra was quiet. Then very softly she said, I say that I am tired. I am tired of being perfect. I am tired of being alone. I am tired of pretending that duty is enough when it has left me empty for centuries. She turned to, You humans are terrifying, you know. You are weak and fragile and you live such short lives. You should be cautious, careful. But instead you choose to feel everything, to risk everything, to be fully alive for whatever time you have. It is foolish and reckless and beautiful. So what will you do? Asked again. Lyra straightened her shoulders. Her patterns began to glow brighter. I will return to my people, she said, but not as the obedient princess they expect. I will tell the council the truth. I will tell them what I have learned from humanity, and if they do not like it, she smiled, and there was steel in it, then perhaps it is time for society to learn what humans already know, that being imperfect is not weakness, that choosing happiness is not betrayal. That life is too precious to waste being afraid of living. They might not listen, warned. I know, Lyra said, but I have to try. Because if I do not, if I just return to being their perfect, emotionless symbol, then everything you have taught me was meaningless, and I refuse to believe that. She put her hand on his shoulder. It was the first time she had initiated physical contact with any human. Thank you, she said, for treating me like a person, for making me laugh, for showing me that there is more to life than duty and perfection. Will I see you again? Asked. I hope so, Lyra said. But even if you do not know this, you have changed me. And through me, you might just change my entire civilization. That is humanity's real power, not your weapons or your technology. Your ability to make others want to be better by simply being yourselves. The next morning, Princess Lyra left the ship, but she left different from how she arrived. She left laughing. 6 days passed before heard anything about Princess Lyra. 6 days of checking the news feeds obsessively. 6 days of wondering if she was okay, if she had been punished, if the alliance was collapsing. Then, on the morning of the 7th day, every screen on the ship suddenly switched to a live broadcast from the was in the mess hall when it happened. He nearly dropped his coffee when he saw Lyra's face appear on the wall screen. She was standing in what looked like a huge council chamber. Behind her sat 12 elderly in formal robes, their faces serious and cold. The Elder Council. Is that, started to say, but was already moving closer to the screen. More crew members were gathering. Captain arrived, breathing hard from running. What's happening? He demanded. I think, Wu said slowly, the princess is addressing the council, and it's being broadcast galaxy-wide. On screen, Lyra stood alone before the council. She wore formal robes again, but something about her was different. She stood. Her patterns glowed brighter. She looked like a princess, yes, but also like someone who had decided to stop apologizing for existing. One of the council members, an ancient with patterns like silver threads, spoke. Princess Lyra, you have been summoned to answer for your behavior during your diplomatic mission to humanity. You have been seen laughing in public, eating common food, engaging in frivolous entertainment, treating humans as equals rather than maintaining proper diplomatic distance. What do you have to say for yourself?" Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she did something that made every human watching hold their breath. She smiled. "Honored elders," she said, her voice clear and strong. "I have something to tell you, something I learned during my time with humanity, but first I would like to share a joke." The council chamber went completely silent. "A joke," the silver-patterned elder repeated, as if she had said a curse word. "Yes," Lyra said, "a human joke. It is very simple. A human goes to a doctor and says, 'Doctor, I think I'm invisible.' The doctor says, 'I'm sorry, I can't see you right now.'" She paused. No one laughed. "You see," Lyra continued, "it is funny because the doctor uses words that have two meanings. He cannot see the patient both because he is busy and because the patient claims to be invisible. Humans find humor in these small confusions, in the imperfection of language, in the misunderstandings that make life interesting." "Princess Lyra," another council member said, his voice hard, "this is not a comedy hall. This is the seat of power. You will show proper respect." "I am showing respect," Lyra said. "I am respecting humanity enough to share what they have taught me, and what they have taught me is this: we are wrong." The chamber erupted. Council members spoke over each other. Protests filled the air. But Lyra raised her hand and slowly the noise died down. "We are wrong," she repeated, her voice stronger now. "For thousands of years we have pursued perfection. We have eliminated mistakes. We have removed emotion from our decisions. We have made ourselves cold and careful and powerful, and we are miserable." "How dare you?" an elder began, but Lyra cut him off. "When was the last time any of you laughed?" she asked. "Not a polite acknowledgement of humor, real laughter. When was the last time you felt joy? When was the last time you did something simply because it made you happy?" Silence. "I have lived for 237 years, Lyra said. "I have served our people faithfully. I have negotiated countless treaties. I have represented the Empire across the galaxy, and until I met the humans, I had never once felt truly alive." She began to pace, her robes flowing behind her. "Humanity is young. They are weak compared to us. Their technology is primitive. They are short. By all measures, they should be insignificant. But do you know what I saw when I lived among them?" "What?" the Silver Elder asked, and for the first time she sounded genuinely curious. "I saw people who chose happiness even when it was hard. I saw them laugh in the face of danger. I saw them create bonds of friendship that meant more to them than power or status. I saw them value the time they had because they knew it was limited. They do not waste centuries being perfect. They spend their short lives being real." Lyra stopped in the center of the chamber, and it terrified me, because I realized that in trying to be perfect, we have forgotten how to be alive. We have forgotten that strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the courage to feel everything and still keep going. "Princess," the Silver Elder said slowly, "what are you asking us to do?" "I am asking us to change," Lyra said. "Not to abandon our culture, not to become human, but to learn from them, to allow ourselves to be imperfect, to let our people laugh and make mistakes and form genuine connections, to choose joy as well as duty." A younger council member, whose patterns were more blue than silver, leaned forward. "And if we refuse, if we demand you return to the old ways?" Lyra met his eyes. "Then I will resign my position. I will give up my title, because I cannot return to a life where I must pretend to be less than I am, where I must hide every genuine feeling, where friendship is seen as weakness and laughter is treated as failure." The chamber erupted again. This time the voices were not all angry. Some sounded shocked, some sounded thoughtful, and a few, very few, sounded hopeful. The Silver Elder raised her hand for silence. "Princess Lyra," she said, "you ask us to change traditions that have stood for. This is not a small thing." "I know," Lyra said, "but our people are already changing. Every young who sees this broadcast, every person who has wondered if there is more to life than duty, every heart that has ached for connection. They are already asking these questions. I am simply brave enough to speak them aloud. The council conferred in whispers. The broadcast continued, showing everything. Millions of across the empire were watching, could barely breathe. Finally, the Silver Elder spoke. We cannot change everything overnight, but perhaps we have been too rigid, too afraid of anything that challenges our perfect order. She looked at Lyra. You may continue your work with humanity, but you will also establish a program here, a place where can learn about human culture, can experience this joy you speak of, and we will watch. We will see if what you promise is real or merely the foolishness of youth. Even my youth is 2 centuries old, Lyra said with a small smile. And then something incredible happened. The Silver Elder's patterns flickered, just slightly, just for a moment. She was trying not to laugh. You may go, the Elder said, but her voice was gentler now. Show us what you have learned. Prove to us that imperfection can be strength. The broadcast ended. The mess hall exploded with noise. Everyone was talking at once, was crying and laughing. Captain looked like he had aged 10 years in the last hour. Wu was frantically taking notes. Just smiled. 6 months later, received a message. It was a video file. When he opened it, he saw Lyra standing in a large, bright room. Behind her were of all ages. Some were watching a movie. Some were eating food from different planets. Some were simply talking, their patterns glowing with warm colors. Hello, Lyra said, smiling at the camera. I wanted you to see this. We call it the Cultural Center. It is the first place on our dedicated to learning about other species, not just their technology or their politics, their joy, their art, their ways of being alive. She gestured around her. We serve coffee here. Can you believe it? Coffee on the... We show human movies every week. We teach classes on humor and friendship and all the messy, imperfect things that make life worth living. A young walked past, carrying a cup. She waved at the camera, her patterns bright with happiness. It has not been easy, Lyra continued. Many still think I am foolish. Many believe I am corrupting our people. But every day more come here. They are hungry for something they did not know they were missing. And slowly, very slowly, we are learning to laugh. She paused and her expression grew more serious. You asked me once if I would see you again. I hope that is still true, because I want to thank you in person. Thank you for treating me like a person instead of a title. Thank you for showing me that being imperfect is not weakness. Thank you for teaching me how to laugh. Lyra's smile returned. Humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy is not your courage in the face of danger, though that is impressive. It is not your clever technology, though that is growing. It is your permission. Permission to be messy, to be emotional, to be real, to be alive. She looked directly into the camera. You changed me, and through me, you are changing the entire empire. That is the real power of humanity. You make others want to be brave enough to be themselves. The message ended with Lyra laughing at something off camera, really laughing, the kind of laugh that came from deep joy. Save the message. He watched it again that night, and the night after, and every time he watched it, he thought about how strange and wonderful it was that sometimes the most important thing you could do was simply be honest, simply be yourself, simply give someone else permission to be human, even if they were not human at all. The alliance between humanity and the empire grew stronger every year. Trade increased. Cultural exchanges became common. But the real change was quieter, smaller, more personal. It was in the children who learned to play human games, in the artists who started creating imperfect, emotional work, in the families who gathered to share meals instead of maintaining formal distance, in every person who decided that maybe, just maybe, it was okay to laugh. And it all started because one tired mechanic talked to himself in the middle of the night. Because one princess decided to listen. And because sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply being real.